Good morning. Happy Sunday, June 9th. Good morning, Katerina. It's good to see you. I think I'm going to need to get stronger glasses, or maybe I need glasses for distance and for closeness. Welcome to my YouTube channel, everybody. It's Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Pacific time, and this is where we all get together live and we look at the weeks ahead, the transits coming up, and they're going to be a little bit interesting, I think. And then we get the angel's advice by doing a reading. We pull a tarot card for each one of the signs. We start with the rising sign of the birth month. So we'll be starting with Gemini and working our way around the Zodiac. These videos are based on whole sign Western astrology. So if you don't know your rising sign, you might want to go to one of the free birth calculators on the internet and plug in your exact time of birth and location, and you can determine that information. I personally think that the moon sign is extremely important. Humans are emotional creatures, and they manifest on their emotional body. So I would check my moon as well. If you have 3 or more personal planets in one sign or house, we're talking about whole signs. So in one sign, you would want to check that video as well. I want to say this because those of you that have been studying astrology or are familiar with astrology, I actually prefer Placidus personally because I'm a 26-degree Aries rising. So when I put my chart in Placidus, it makes most of my first house Taurus. And I think that makes a big difference. So just check that out. All right, let's jump in because this week I think is going to be a little bit interesting. Mars and Pluto, who are both rulers of Scorpio, are going to be squaring each other. Mars is entering Taurus. This happens actually today, and it begins its square. And I swear to you, I have felt the Mars energy in Aries very strongly this last week as it was traversing over my ascendant. And not just, the idea of being angry and resentful, but just like, how accidents can happen, being more careful with knives and things like that. Really important this week because Mars is considered in detriment in Taurus. So here we could see Mars revisiting some history, personal history that's pissing it off. We could see Mars frustrated because he's not getting to use his skills or his voice here. And the square to Pluto is the transformation of that. Pluto is still retrograde in Aquarius. And, this Aquarian energy is rebellious and wants to move the story forward, wants to move into the future, wants to see new possibilities. So there could be a very strong argument between these two planets. And it could also on a very sort of primal, raw level, there could be a lot of people that, a lot of anger out there in the streets, in the neighborhood and things like that. So just, be mindful, don't poke the bear, as they say. If somebody's losing their mind, just don't engage, because I do think it's going to be pretty challenging. This is going to go on for, I don't know, at least I think the majority of the week we're going to feel this energy because we've seen, Mars is just moving into this square. And as it moves forward in Taurus, it's going to have to slow the roll, move through the landscape, look where it goes versus just leaping. And at the same time, we have the Sun and Venus are in a conjunction, and Mercury is bringing up the coming up in there, and Jupiter obviously has entered Gemini. So we've got a lot of energy in the neighborhood, a lot of, the quick pace of Mercury and Jupiter being in Gemini, the sign of travel, and then the square from Pluto in Aquarius to Mars in Taurus just makes me feel at the same time, I just want to be aware. Like if you've had issues with neighbors or people in your community or, moms in the school line or whatever, just your awareness can give you a moment of choice. Not saying you won't feel something. So I think that's really important to pay attention to. So, and Mars is in detriment. So Mars is the weak player here. Okay. Mars would be the one who would be in a more challenging place, feeling more alien, feeling more, you don't understand why I feel this way. And Pluto is at this point saying, I don't really care how you feel about this way. Move on. And that's the Aquarian energy, right? Not hanging on to the history, but using it as a platform to move to the next level. So all this happens through awareness. Good morning, Aloha Flower. Good morning, Catherine. Good morning, Jenny G. It's good to see you. I don't know where Small is. I haven't heard from her. So I'm expecting her. Oh, you know what I didn't tell you guys? So you know I'm always teasing about playing the lottery, and oh, there she is. Good morning. Good morning. So after last Sunday's show, I had to go pay my rent. So I walked into town, took the little man with me. He's sitting under the table right now. And on the way back, I had taken a $15 scratcher with me to go. And you know what? For those of you that are listening, I'm using scratchers as a way of looking at my own financial vibration. How am I receiving money? Am I aligned to winning? And it's this little game I'm playing with myself. So last week I was walking back from town. I was kind of tired. He was tired because he didn't want to walk anymore. So I was carrying him. And at the very last second, I decided to go into the market and go buy a lottery ticket. So I actually bought 3 of them, and I won on all 3. But on one of them, I won $500. So I was like, oh, my vibration is getting better and better and better. So I just wanted to give you a little update on that. And let's jump into our readings now. Okay, so, there was something else I wanted to say about the transits. Thanks for putting up with me sometimes when I jump all over the place. I know, it's so fun in that respect when I'm not invested in winning the money, but just seeing how I'm aligned to the universe. It was pretty fun. And then one of the people that work at the market, it's a pavilions, she told me that in another sister pavilions that a guy won $10 million on a scratcher. So I was like, Anyway, so let's just jump into a little bit more of this transits, because speaking of Mercury, the Sun, Venus, and all in Gemini, they're going to be growing into a conjunction. Okay. And, Venus represents our self-worth and our skills and our money. Speaking of money, the Sun is our willingness to assert ourselves, our ambition, our ego. And then Mercury is our thoughts and our speech. This is all on the personal level. So as we start to play with the ideas that Jupiter offers us an expansion of our everyday experience, but part of that expansion is being uncomfortable and paying attention to the details of my thought, of my speech. I'm very acutely aware of things, and the word need rolls off the human tongue easier than anything. Okay, I need to do this and I need to do that, and when I hear it, I literally start to vibrate differently. I'm like, no, that's pushing a rock uphill. So this week, as Mars is squaring Pluto, kind of pissed off. I kind of feel like these two guys are like hoodlums in the neighborhood right now, and both of them has their own point of view about, what's going on. And it almost feels like Mars is hanging on to a story, that Taurian story. And so in that, then we couple that with the background of Venus and the Sun and Jupiter and Mercury all in Gemini. In your early childhood, in how you've interacted with your siblings, your workmates, your teammates, the people, walking down the sidewalks. Even be careful if you're on wheels this week, you could be riding a bike somewhere. Watch where you're going. Don't expect the guy on the car to see you. Just be very careful. That Mars Pluto square is a little bit scary. And people who live around scary people, or, I can't help but thinking of the randoms that are just walking through New York City, punching people in the face. Just be mindful. That's all I got to say. All right. That's it for the transits. Yeah, they're a little scary. Just that one. Okay. Let's go on to our readings. We're going to start with our Geminis. One One other thing I forgot to tell you, and now that Small's here, I don't know why I'm in a constant state of scatteredness. I think that I'm going to remember everything in sequential order and be logical, but these days, I don't know. And my transits are funny. So I just want to announce that next week is Father's Day in the United States. And as we honored small wildflowers and all the mothers in our community and at large, we will be honoring all the fathers next week and taking Sunday off. So just wanted to let you know that ahead of time. So I'm sorry that my announcements are interlaced with the aspects. My ruling planet Mars is squaring Pluto. I'm in my, in the natural houses, meaning in my first house and in my 11th house, whatever, wherever he is and wherever they are. Okay, let's go on to our readings. Okay, for our Geminis, we have this really warm and fuzzy energy of the Six of Cups. This is a card that represents childhood experiences, the innocence of childhood, how when we're children, every day is an adventure, You could wake up and stay in your pajamas all day, and yet you go on adventures, within your own home, within your playtime. So we could see, and Gemini rules youth and curiosity and now that we're thinking about all this activity, the sun, Venus, Mercury, this could very much bring in some social activity or social engagements this week. Now, if indeed any of those engagements have to do with people that frankly irritate you, like don't forget about that Mars-Pluto square in the background, because you just don't really want to be around people that can trigger you unconsciously. That's one of the things that Pluto and Mars both rule is that deep psychological imprint. But this feels warm and fuzzy. Let's see where we're going with this. Okay, our first angel is Mystique. Archangel Raphael is second. Adriana is third, and the final is Isabella. Yes, the timing is right. One of the things I always notice about this card, the Six of Cups, let me make sure, see if you can see it. Do you see the guy walking away in the background, the grown-up? This makes me feel a little bit like for my Geminis, it's like, oh my goodness, it's time for you to throw your inner grown-up, let him walk away for a while. Maybe this week, that Mars and Pluto square would be really best served by taking advantage of all the planets in your first house. Almost like just turning away from anything that annoys you or has pissed you off historically, or and I want to even offer this, because if you're doing something hurriedly, or like say you're cleaning out the garage or you're cleaning out something outside and you don't see something sharp, it doesn't have to be necessarily an argument with another human being. You could hurt yourself. The other day I ran into this shelf thing in my bedroom so flippin' hard and hit my ankle that it knocked me to over onto the bed. And I literally, Lucky had an anxiety attack because he thought I was dead. That's how much it hurt, and how it literally it was so painful. I almost went unconscious. So just be very careful when you're washing the dishes and things like that. Okay. Mystique is being joined by the Earth Fairy, physical health, grounding. Okay. So this is very much about being aware of taking care of yourself and bringing in things that make you feel vital, fresh, new, and also comfort you. Archangel Raphael is offering a healing, and then there's the owl joining that. We have Adriana being joined by the Lady of the Lake. And Isabella is being joined by the mystery card. Okay, so this is what I want to say, because Gemini rules siblings, right? And we have all this activity going on. If there's something that comes up with your childhood this week that reminds you of, because this Earth Fairy is groundings, foundations, where you come from on some level. We can see Mars going into that square with Pluto. And this would be keep charging ahead to create a new foundation, to look to what's working for you, not what may potentially anchor you to a different story. Archangel Raphael, I always feel like the first point of my physical health is the epiphanies that I have, the things that hit my mind. And in doing that, I have this awareness. The owl makes me feel as if there's going to be some kind of, like you see something differently. And you know what it might be for Geminis? Somebody else may act out in your environment this week. And in them acting out, you see something that actually might calm you down or make you feel like, oh, I get it. Because here is the Lady of the Lake. And while this could represent a storm between my heart and my head, I don't know if I do. I feel like with this and the angel's advice, this feels more like I'm anchored into who I know what I am, my self-respect, my courage, and that Adriana is leading me to more wisdom through the epiphanies by seeing the patterns in other people around me. Again, Gemini, while we're talking about you and your first house, we've got so much activity in that first house that it makes me feel as if your sense of self is being bounced around amongst those planets, like the women in your life, and even potentially the men, the sun, Mercury, could be your siblings. These planets have so many layers. And the more I study, and I read, I was reading A.T. Mann's book yesterday while I was working on some stuff, and he said something in the book that I thought was really interesting about masculine planets being in feminine signs like the earth and water, and how they take on a feminine quality, which could represent even more detail about the female, how you interact with females in your life. Because the reason I say all this is that there's a deeper truth coming and a choice. And I think that choice is trusting your heart, going into this place of a more naive, yes, I do receive, I'm going to enjoy things more, because Isabella is saying, yes, the timing is right for a new venture, but you have to make that choice. And maybe up until now, it hasn't been easy to make. Or at least I want to say it this way, being able to discern where you're making your choices from. You know what I mean? Like where am I actually, I want to offer it this way. That whole joke that I'm doing, which is not really a joke, but it is kind of a joke. I come from poor people who always say money doesn't grow on trees. I was in the welfare office as a child. We went to the fancy market with food stamps. It was quite an embarrassing situation. And I remember we giving a $50 allowance for a whole year's worth of school clothes that I wasn't supposed to get dirty or ever screw up because they had to last. I mean, I come from those kind of people. So my point is, this is a vibrational thing for Gemini. Somewhere you're something in your childhood, a vibration that you either about love or security or how you're received is coming up. And as that happens, you get to sort of redefine it, like, hey, that was then and this is now. Because I don't know about that whole releasing crap, I just don't think I can do it. The dog's right under my chair, so I'm just being mindful of him. Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to see you all. Welcome as you come into the room. I hope you got your coffee if it's morning for you, or whatever your snack is, and settle in and let's just talk transits, Mars and Pluto. I really was mad at Mars this week, I got to tell you, because the last bit of the transit through Aries, some spider attacked me. I got bit 13 times. I mean, literally like a big old, I'm all on my right side. Everything hit my ankle on the right side. This is all the action side, the Mars side of your body. The left is the reception side, right? And I'm just like, what's going on? All right. On to our Cancers, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, okay. This is a little bit of a challenging energy. 5 of Swords is a card where the character wins, but it doesn't necessarily feel good. Sometimes they associate this card with the word contempt. This is cardinal air. No, this is fixed air. So this is Aquarian air. Okay, so let's talk. Because Cancer, you know that as Aquarius, as Pluto is retrograding, it's going to go back in and it's going to go into the last degrees of your seventh house. And while most of you won't feel that directly, we're still going to feel it. Did you, Jules? These were crazy, I have to tell you. And then all over my new carpet, I was dribbling charcoal because I was an idiot and I dabbed charcoal on myself. And then it fell through my pant leg. And anyway, it was really last couple of weeks. I've been very annoying. All right. So look, so Cancer, this is where I'm going with this. 5 of Cups. And I really appreciate y'all because I'm just really ADD lately, all day dreaming and distracted. This card is something that I think is an opportunity for awareness. Okay. Again, things happen and there may be a situation where you express something because this is air, right? This is the swords, and you don't feel like it's received very well, but someone tells you they did. Let's see where we're going with the angels. Because frankly, to me, this week would be a week I would actually avoid having a strong conversation with anybody about anything, because I don't like the Pluto bringing up the old dark, sort of potentially very nasty. And Mars is, Mars, the way that I think about it sometimes is like Mars and Venus are in detriment, and Mercury all are in detriment in a quarter of the 1/3. What are they? 3 planets, 3 signs, because they all rule 2. So they're either in fall or they're in detriment in a quarter of the signs. So this is where I think this is an opportunity for a shifting of energy. So if we look at Mars as being all aggressive and angry and, abrupt, then when it's in its detriment, it has to slow down and communicate more succinctly, because Venus rules the voice and Taurus rules the voice. So you get where I'm going with this? Did I drift off too much? Because what I'm trying to say is that how Cancer expresses themselves this week may feel sort of like a win, but not a win. Let's see where we're going. Rochelle's about coming from your heart. Aurora says you're flying high right now, which may threaten others, but don't descend. So if you're doing something out of pattern for yourself, that may be partially like, people depending on you, Cancer, to take care of them. And if you take care of you, they may say, oh, fine, go do that. But you still don't feel good about it. Fiona, now that you've asked God and the angels for help, be open to receiving, and Mystique is keep charging ahead. When we're starting to break up an imprint, when we start to have an awareness about it, and we go through that uncomfortable stage of making a new choice. And if you think about the idea of Cancer, Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon has one whole side of it that you never see, the interior, the underneath. And sometimes with Cancer, that's a really strong need to be nurtured as well. And yet Cancer doesn't say that out loud. Instead, they'll nurture somebody sometimes and then hope that they get a clue and nurture back. And so this might be a little bit of a moment where, following your own heart, doing a little self-nurturing. Rochelle's being joined by the powerful dragon, but this is calm power and strength when you assert yourself. Aurora is being joined by the fear card. So this is don't be fearful. Well, I hate to say don't be fearful. Being aware of your fear of the reaction of another person that you care about. That's not a bad thing, but it's also good to help rebalance the situation. And this could be a kid of yours. Fiona is being joined by the trust card. It could also be a male in your life. And then the owl is joining Mystique. Okay, so this feels a bit like a process. So if we think about the 5 of Swords representing the Aquarian energy on some level, this would be, the fixed air is you potentially thinking that I have to do something. Even if I take care of myself, I can't really relax, or I can't really let myself go. Because here, the angels are telling you to follow your heart, to trust, to assert yourself in this calm sort of energy. Because I kind of want to offer it this way. Burning the candle at both ends, as they say, or overly caring for someone else just depletes the self. It really, I mean, yes, it's effective for a short period of time, but a long distance, it doesn't work. And so here, as you would take care of you for some reason, just whatever it is, I don't care if it's just going into the other room and shutting the door and saying, I need 5 minutes, or if it's saying, my boss needs me to do this, and I need to call in sick because I'm just over here to stress. This Mars Pluto square is really no joke. Okay. It's very tense. It's got a criminal dynamic to it. Okay. So people who are prone to those kind of behaviors may find themselves in very precarious situations. I don't think our tribe is in that space, but you could find yourself in a very challenging dynamic. So here is to stay the course, even if you're a little scared. Because Fiona is saying, as you trust, you've been asking God and the angels for a break somehow, for something to come through that exchanges the energy, that feeds you more. I can feel that. Now just keep plugging away and know that you're unraveling something, and that wisdom will come as a result of this, not just for you, but for those around you. I always think of it this way. My grandmother was a very loving woman, but she was kind of put upon. She was, obviously she was in an era. She was born in 1909. So she was in an era where women were expected to behave a certain way. And she was super creative and artistic, and she really needed some downtime. And when she didn't get it, man, it hit the fan. And there were people in the family that were not sympathetic to her, mainly my grandfather, because he was a dutiful Saturnian ruled man. She was a Scorpio. Ooh. So it was a little interesting. My point is this: you take that time authentically to replenish, to nourish yourself. You will nourish others much more effectively and with much more fun in your heart. So take some time. Or if you have to express yourself and somebody doesn't react well to the initial expression of yourself, stay the course. They'll get it later. All right, let's go on to our Leos, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, the Temperance card. This is all about balance. It's associated with the Sagittarian energy. We see, the thing that I always find so interesting when I look at this card is that there's nothing about this angel that is solid. Everything is sort of, the wings are spread, so there's a feeling of flight. There's the cups are exchanging emotions, and the feet are not at all flat on the ground. They're even sort of, one foot is in the water, the other is on a rock. We don't know how stable that is. So it's an interesting feeling where, and the eyes are closed. So that's very important to note, that the eyes are closed, and the triangle feels like the Trinity over the heart. So in order to have balance, what Temperance is representing is closing the eyes that see the human experience and getting back down to the truth of what the soul is here for, what the soul is representing. So let's see where we're going. So this is for our Leo rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And we know that the Taurus energy squares you, and we know that the Aquarian energy is opposing you. So, balance this week as you walk through that. I don't really know quite how to explain how incredibly tense this feels to me, because Mars was so powerful in Aries that it's almost has this feeling like, as it first goes into the Taurus energy, it feels so pissed off that the voice has, diminished. When it's in its rulership, it's like Mars gets to walk around every degree of the Aries house like, hey, I'm the boss. But when it gets in Taurus energy, it is not the boss. It is the opposite of the boss. It's the guest that is not gotten comfortable yet. So let's see. Here we go. Rosetta is all about children, parenting, guiding. We have Archangel Raphael. There's a healing. Grace and Antoinette is about compassion and seeing the other person's point of view. And Francesca is about negativity. We have Rosetta being joined by the mystery card, which is choice. We see the Lady of the Lake joining Archangel Raphael. Grace and Antoinette is being joined by the Serpent. And Francesca is being joined by the Baird. Okay, so here we have a stellium in Gemini. We have this Gemini is Leo rising, would be in your 11th house. This is your social groups, your hopes, your dreams, the interests you have that are on a global scale, meaning the kind of groups that, like astrology groups that you would join into. I say this because when I look at this right now for my Leos, knowing that Pluto is opposing you in your 7th house, and it's going to make a long transit there, that there is something about looking at Rosetta has nothing to do with your children. It has to do with the childlike innocence, again, the child within, the part of you that never grows old. I want to put it that way. And there is a part of me that it kind of feels like all my Leo risings get to start to nurture their 11th house dreams. When I brought up the Gemini energy, it's because there is that focuses on my thoughts and my speech and what's my self-talk, how did I process my childhood, and how does it hang with me and give me permission to either flourish or not flourish. So, often you'll see people who are raised by frugal people become frugal people, or they become the total opposite. So there's some sort of effect. What Spirit's talking about is balance here, and closing your eyes and getting in touch with a deeper truth within the innocence of before the blocks come in, before the no's come in, before the structure that's imposed upon us. Because the real healing comes from a mental epiphany, that idea that there's an opportunity for expansion of your dreams as you connect even deeper here. And the awareness of the argument, this almost feels like the courage word is what popped out to me. Leo rising, you rule courage. I think you're being called forth to step up into that unknown place where you have a certain material experience, but then there's another experience that sits behind that within your heart, and now nurturing it from an emotional place, from a connection to spirit, and being mindful of your self-talk. What do you say? Because here's the Grace and Antoinette, which is about compassion, and the compassion would be, hey, I'm caught between what I see in front of me and what I want that seems impossible to put in front of me. And then you call upon Spirit. Thank you for the healing of my own fears. And the healing isn't really a healing, it's a balance. Because if you look at anybody, we have all these reality shows now where people have these dreams. And, here, the first thing I think of is, Gordon Ramsay is doing Generations Master Chef. So he's got his boomers and his Gen Zs and his Gen Xs and God knows what else is there. But, people who at 70 years old feel like they're still vital are chasing dreams. This is opening up to dreams and talking about your dreams and allowing yourself to shed a skin of something old. Because right now, Spirit's literally saying that there's too much focus on what is not, what is challenging, what hasn't happened, or what hill I have to climb. And now I think the Baird is like, tell a new story. Start to dance through your day with a new story. That's the whole play. That echoes back to me playing the lottery and learning to tell a new story about how I win and how I lose and the money I spend and don't spend. And somebody needs to tell me what kind of scratchers they like. Hint, hint. I got the address, but I don't have the scratchers, and I don't want to pick on my vibration. I want to pick on yours. So there you go. Hint, hint. All right, let's go into our Virgos. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Well, Stephen, good day. You've been missed. Last week went to, fun. Last week, I won $500 in the lottery. You missed that. I was very excited. It was a win-all ticket. I almost died as I was scratching off all the other ones. I thought, oh my God, my vibration. Yay. All right. Going on to our Virgos, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, this is a lovely energy. This is the World card. This is where the Fool has actually been through all of the major arcana. And now he understands the rules, boundaries, and limitations of the Earth experience. And now it's extracting the reward that has. There's a Saturnian feel here, and not in a way that's holding things back, but instead I've learned all the elements. I know how they all work together. And while I may be within this, rules of engagement on the earth plane, gravity, etc., I understand them. And now I know how to play them. I know how to be vulnerable to them, but I know how to play them. When I see those little batons, they almost feel like I'm playing them like a drum, right? And the drum is my heart. And what was the first drum? The beat. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, here we go. Virgo, coming from your heart. And while Saturn is opposing your first house and stationing, Saturn doesn't move but maybe 1 degree this whole month. So that's pretty powerful. Meaning that, and it's at 18 degrees. So that's even if it's a Virgo degree, that's super powerful. Meaning this is a time, because this could potentially be that where you start to realize where your self-talk stops you, where you could be self-critical or looking at things from a challenging, more earthbound, I got to prove myself way versus settling into the reward. Let's see where we're going. Grace and Antoinette is about compassion and seeing things from another person's point of view. Well, isn't that interesting? Because the sign of compassion is Pisces, which is your 7th house. Okay, here we go. The Patience card is now studying, gathering information, assimilating that information, because you'll soon synthesize it into knowledge. Desiree is saying that right now, part of this, when Desiree is saying conditions aren't necessarily favorable, it's because there's more observation in the Patience card that gets to be done. And then we have Indra, the light worker. If for some reason you're a Virgo and you're picking at yourself, or you're thinking, I can't, I have to do this, I duty that, obligation here, or potentially you've been concerned about your stress level, then a little self-care is good for that. And that self-care doesn't work if you're stressed out during the self-care. So it's really surrendering to it. But let's see where Grace and Antoinette are playing out. In the Butterfly, this is literally having compassion for your own transformation. One of the challenges about the earth signs, while they have so many rewards attached to them, is that it's very hard for them to get past the things that they have built. And I mean that in such a way where it's important. Like Virgo rules process. It rules a certain, analytical dynamic. So it's used to implementing process. And now the processes have shifted a bit. The reward comes in the integration. This has a Saturnian energy. Saturn, I know I sound like I go places, but Saturn rules Capricorn. So there's a feeling through Saturn that I know the rules. Now I'm going to use them along with my connection to spirit. Patience is being joined by the Risk card. Desiree is being joined by the Abundance card of the cow. And Indriel, the light worker, is being joined by the connection to spirit. So this is for me where Virgo starts to look at their Pisces energy as not necessarily connecting to a human right now, but connecting to the divine partnership that Pisces represents, as Saturn anchors into your 7th house, demanding even more structure with that. And this is where I kind of go to the idea that water is a great conduit for connection with spirit. So as you shower or whatever your daily routines are, you can even take the time while you're washing your hands to do a quick intentional meditation, because this Reward comes as you are compassionate with your own transformation, while you actually risk implementing the things that you've been learning and studying, which may seem a little airy-fairy and weird and odd. And then Desiree is saying that Desiree is saying, how much can you receive? Are you aligned to reception? This plays back to my little weird lotto game. And the more I play with scratchers, the more I think my ability to receive money is moving up. Because that's where Desiree is saying, check on in. Goes with the patience card. Are you aligned? Or do you think you're aligned? There's a difference. You can feel the difference. And when you have compassion for the process of it, then you're not looking to be perfect and you're not overly critical, because critical energy is actually the direction that you don't want to go. It's actually blocking the manifestation, because here is Indriel, the light worker, and here is the ego. And the ego is the connection to the angelic realm, and the world is offering some sort of reward and in the material. So let me go here for my Virgos, because again, we see not only Saturn's opposition in your 7th house, but in the background, we have this square between Pluto and Mars. And I want to offer it this way, because Aquarius is your 8th house of transformation. And I'm trying to back myself up in this, because Virgo, Pisces, I got to go backwards. Aquarius is your 5th house. Aries is your 8th house. Somebody help me here in my brain, because where I'm going is there's that square. So if that square, that Taurus energy is actually your 4th house. No, Libra rising. No, I know I've just scared myself a little bit. I know I'm talking to Virgo. Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, 6th house, Pisces, 7th house. Okay. This has to do with then work. I'm so sorry to have my brain kind of fritz out there, because I think very much so that there's something about you revisiting and re-engaging in the reward that you have been working for, because you have figured out how to integrate, and then your awareness of your energy as you step into some new dynamic where you're connecting with spirit to manifest. That was very choppy, but let me just round it out for my Virgos. Basically, when I need clients, I don't send out emails. I've probably got 100 email addresses to input into my database, and I just have no time to do it. And so I just put my beam up and I say, Spirit, the door is open. Bring all the people who will best be served by my gifts and my talents, and I will receive them as you see fit. And so this is part of what I think is going on for the Virgo energy. Virgo rising is a partnership with your divinity, with the divine within you. And as you connect there, it creates transformation. And it may create challenge this week, because that square in the background between Pluto and Mars is angry. Okay, so this might be a little bit, be aware of that, so you don't dip into the lower energies of self-criticism and expecting perfectionism. That's where I'm going. All right. Somehow in my brain, things make sense. But doesn't that with everybody? Okay. Here we go on to our Libras, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Your tarot card is the King of Pentacles. Well, that's nice and new. Yay, the King of Money. This is Taurus energy, as you can see. It's very abundant. This person feels very secure, has everything that they need physically to look to the future. So let's see where we're going with our Libras. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Yay, good vibes. I know. Libra's been getting some challenging vibes lately. But again, here I can't help it but see that as right now, while Pluto's in Aquarius, it technically is trining Libra, but it's about to square Libra in those late degrees. I have a 27-degree Mars. I think this is partially why I freaking hit myself and got attacked by spiders and all this weird stuff. I almost I had put a knife on the counter and it was on a towel, and I'm moving without paying attention, and I did this and it almost fell on the floor, point down towards my foot, but it didn't. Be very careful this week with this square, okay? Thank you, Stephen. I was just my brain was just having a moment. I have to explain to you guys that I'm in 3 places. I'm trying to look at the chat and kind of pay attention. I'm trying to pay attention here, and then I'm listening to spirit at the same time. So it's not just me being a buzzhead weirdo, okay? It's just me being in 3 places at once. All right, Libra. The King of Pentacles also is synergistic. It's warm and fuzzy in some ways to the Libra energy because their Venus rules both of you. So let's see where we're going here. Ariel, new psychic and spiritual experiences are changing how you operate. The universe, Fiona, is bringing something in. Ooh, maybe it's something warm and fuzzy with money. There's Indriel, the light worker. And then there's Omega, the victory card. So I really start to laugh at myself sometimes because I feel so goofy. But so there's 2 shows. There's My Lottery Dream Home, which I watch. But then there's this other show that I've randomly found on some weird channel way up high in the numbers called How the Lottery Changed My Life. And I have only watched it a few times, but I have to tell you, it amuses me because people who feel very poor, right? And then they buy a $20, $30 scratcher and their lottery changes their life. And I look at these things and I'm like, you know what? This makes me feel like if we align, anybody can win the lottery. Literally, like it's not as hard as the statistics would have you think. Now, the reason I say this is because Libra, there's a very, very strong energy in your 9th house of Aries, right? There is this Libra, what am I saying? 9th house. That was Leo. This is a very strong energy in your partnership house. Okay. And again, that's Chiron's transit, the North Node's transit. So the reason I bring this up is because, again, we look at that house as a house of cooperation, a house of partnership, a house of peace and diplomacy. Most of us feel our most peaceful when we are connected to our divinity, to the truth within us, and we're walking that in the earth plane. So here we go. Ariel is being joined by the transformational death card. That could be Pluto this week. We have Fiona and the love card in the opportunity, the obstacle for our Libras. We have Indriel and the dog also representing love. And then we have Omega and the fire fairy. This is really very lovely. I want to offer this because Libra's been going through, getting, I think, the 5 of Pentacles each week for the last couple of weeks. And as I focus on that, I always seem to see the church, the 5 bright pentacles that the characters don't see. So now here we go into this King of Pentacles energy where we are integrating our mind with the earth element here. So I think this is about mastery of some kind, mastery of the awareness of material resources and how they show up. Here we have this connection to spirit, and the death card for me feels like Pluto. Pluto rules billionaires. Pluto rules some scary stuff, but Pluto rules some really yummy stuff. So I think for my Libras, as I'm connecting with spirit and I'm going up with my intentions and what I want, this is how I feel. And I'm aware that I'm sending every word, every thought sort of sends a ripple out into the universe, that the universe then responds in kind. Because this Fiona and the love card make me feel like it's not just intimate love, it's whatever you love. The things that you love, the feelings of security, of connection, to enjoy time, to enjoy, the company of good friends and people, because here's Indriel, the light worker. And then there's the unconditional love, loyalty, and sincerity card. So more is coming. And I think that this is really potentially a result of whatever that 5 of Pentacles was bringing forth. Sometimes without realizing it, a disruption actually opens the door for something much better to come in, because here's the victory card. And here's Omega saying to remain optimistic and positive. Something really great is happening, and Spirit is watching over you. Spirit is watching over this transformation. You know, I wonder too if some Libras may experience the square, the growing square with Mars in Taurus. You may get information about people that you had suspected were potentially unsavory or doing things that are funky. Again, Pluto and Mars co-rule criminals, deception, lies, you know, things that are hidden underneath. And that might be what comes to the surface or something. You may be validated or vindicated in some way. You know, like a coworker is like being slimy or something, and then we find out that the coworker was really, you know, they're exposed in some way. There's a polarization heading here pretty quick. And a lot of people who have been, you know, swirling the drain in their behaviors are going to be flushed. Okay, here we go. Hey, Lucy, good to see you. Okay, on to our Scorpios. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums, we see the King of Wands. This guy is looking to the future. Very much a feeling of Sagittarius attached to this for me. You know, planning his next venture, his next, what he's going to do next. Let's see where we're going with this. Our first angel for our Scorpios is Maya, the angel of schooling and education. The second is Isabella. Yes, the timing is right. Then we have Bridget, look deeper into the situation before proceeding. And then we have Indriel. Okay. Maya is being joined by the King. Isabella is being joined by the Earth Fairy. Bridget is being joined by the Wasp. Indriel is being joined by the restriction card. All right, my Scorpios, God bless you. Love you so much. Your ruling planet is, both your ruling planets are having a very intense conversation this week. And I want to offer it this way because when I look at this, I almost feel as if there's the potential of being triggered in some way, like somebody pokes up against you and they bring out a pattern side of you. And Spirit is very much encouraging you to use both your intellect and this is air. The kings always have an air element to them. And this is using your air and your fire to look to the future, because now you exercising the authority over yourself that you know you can do. Isabella is saying, yes, the timing is right to start to pay attention to how anger and frustration affects you on a physical level. Because, Scorpio is, I mean, you tell anybody you're a Scorpio, most people react like, oh, you're a Scorpio. But you could find that as you start to become aware, the Scorpio to me is the most intuitive sign of the whole zodiac. And in that intuitiveness, rather than being, assaulted by the human condition, this is seeing the deeper psychological imprint that is there. And rather than expecting somebody to transform it, I think it's more about you stepping away from people who don't transform it, because this is about looking deeper into your own anger and how it's affecting you. And this would be Isabella saying, yes, it's time to pay attention to how it affects your physical being, not just your body, but also your ability to bring in money and bring in resources, and how it's distracting on some level. Okay, so now we have in the final position is Spirit is saying that there's something happening where I want to offer it this way. This is a restriction to your connection to Spirit. And this week, that stellium in Gemini is triggering a lot of thoughts, a lot of, this, that, and the other thing. And so here's Scorpio, first house, Taurus, seventh house, Gemini, eighth house of transformation. Now we have the square between your ruling planets, and this could be where you get triggered somehow through old family dynamics, something through your childhood, something through a sibling, and you could either knee-jerk respond, or you could step back long enough to connect with your deeper self, your higher self, to your guides and your angels, and then be able to implement a new behavior. I want to offer it this way too, because it's really great to have the concept that we have evolved, or we are aware and we're making new choices, but it's a whole other thing to actually demonstrate it. And that's where the real shift in the energy roots in and becomes a new dynamic. So there's this strong potential of that for you this week. Feel the love. All right, let's go on to our Sagittarius' rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Stephen. All right. On to our Capricorns, the Wheel of Fortune. I love this card, mostly because, again, we kind of see this we saw it in the world card where all the elements are represented. We see the same thing, but they're still taking flight here. We see, meaning the four elements of the Zodiac, and the Wheel of Fortune. We don't know whether it's going up or down, but the Sphinx would indicate that in order to stay on top, we're aware of our thoughts. There's a mastering. And when we look at the Sphinx, we see the black and white in the headdress. I don't remember what that's called. I'm not sure if I ever knew, but the black and the white would indicate an awareness of the contrast of the human experience. And in that awareness, I can master my reaction into intention. So let's see where we're going for our Capricorns, because that Pluto transit through your first house was like literally giving you an opportunity to extract all the great things of Capricorn and then use the challenging dynamics of fear. Aren't I on Capricorn? I think I'm on Sagittarius. I just did Sagittarius, didn't I? Oh, I'm on Sagittarius now. Tell me, did I mess up? This was Scorpio, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Sorry, I'm on Sagittarius. Back the bus up. Okay, I'm still saying the same thing. Okay, thank you. I don't know what to tell you. I want to say the same thing, though, for my Sagittariuses, because this is still about mastering the thought. It's still about the awareness of the contrast of the human experience. It's still to stay on top of the wheel as an awareness of the elements that are going on. Okay. Meaning the elements of the air, the earth, the water, all these things represent something that creates an experience that gives us a landscape of choice. And through that choice and the awareness of our thoughts, we start to bring in the elements that support or not. I got to tell you, my brain lately, and I've been taking my lion's mane and I've been taking my Geekabloken, but I even was praying for clarity because I feel so scattered lately. I think I have a Uranus square. I think Uranus is squaring it is. Uranus is squaring my natal Uranus. I think that has something to do with it. Okay. All right. Maya, Sagittarius. Our first angel is Maya, the angel of education. Then we have Grace and Antoinette, which is about compassion. Then we have Mystique, keep charging ahead. And then we have Yvonne, vulnerability. Ooh, that's always hard because that almost, when I look at that, I feel like that vulnerability is to the unknown. So because I said Capricorn, I just want to reiterate with this Wheel of Fortune. This Sagittarius, if you look at all the elements, they each have a book in front of them. So this is where the Fool is still learning about how the wheel, how the earth plane works. And, we see this sort of I don't want to call it a demon, but it kind of looks like a little bit of a demon. And we see that snake, right, as it's squirreling along. So as we're going up and down, we see this world is offering us varying experiences to hone our awareness of our thoughts. I think that's really important. And I think Maya, representing schooling and education, is this right here. This is not about necessarily going to higher education school. We have Maya being joined by the birth and the rebirth card. We have Grace and Antoinette being joined by the fire fairy. We have Mystique being joined by the novice. And we have Yvonne being joined by the love card. That's very interesting. So when I look at that birth and that rebirth card, that just, to me, feels even more like a sort of that Plutonian energy, a transformational energy of starting to be implement the things that I have learned, the things that I already know. Because now Grace and Antoinette is offering compassion as you start to embark the things that are passionate to you. And I say start to embark them because your awareness of what your thoughts have been. Part of the reason, I know I'm harping on this a little bit, but it's a really good example right now. Because of my story financially with my family and how I was raised with mostly scarcity, when I'm playing the lottery, it helped because I know my limitations. I know the ones I don't want to win. I don't want to win billions of dollars. So I am slowly playing this little game and educating myself as I rebirth a vibration and I become aware of how my thoughts are and how do I feel like, oh, maybe, because that's the part where having compassion for yourself you may vary. Some days you may feel very trusting of the journey and other days you may not. And if you're pushing, then you're putting yourself back in that human dynamic to potentially set yourself up to fail. Because in the angels' advice, they want you to keep charging ahead, but also to pace yourself. This is a new thing that you're practicing. Exactly, Lucy. Don't push, because here Yvonne is about being vulnerable, and there's the love card. So let me go back. Most people think that work is just that, something they make money at. And the things that they love are hobbies. Well, there's the potential that those hobbies can make money. Let's just say you make doll dresses, right? And up until now, you've just been doing maybe a little here and there. And then you decide to open up a little Etsy account. Or you decide to play with it and open yourself up, but you take it slowly and you give yourself a little bit of time to pace yourself about being aware of your mind and then taking action. Because I really think that it's time to rebirth yourself into something that you love. I hope that made sense when I'm saying rebirth yourself. Starting to make money or resources at something that is enjoyable. And then you use, both lanes, meaning you use your day job to support you as you get your alignment in. All right, now we'll go on to Capricorn. I would have found out at the end when I ran into an extra card. Do you have an Etsy account yet, Stephen? Or one of those? There must be more than just Etsy that you can do those kind of things. All right, Capricorn. Well. Now we have the moon. This is a Piscean energy. Surprisingly enough, we think the moon would be Cancerian, but it's not. It's very much, there's that little layer of fog or deception where we can't see very well. And this requires us on some level to be aware of the two different energies. The dog that represents the more domesticated energy, and then we have the wolf or the coyote, which is more feral. And I feel like that there's the potential that we're feeling, Capricorn could very well be feeling this energy as they're experiencing the, Pluto creeping back into those last, very powerful degrees of your first house. And then it moves into your second house of resources. So I think there's the potential here that what's happening is there's almost a need to quiet down. I want to offer this. This month, we're going to have the beginning. The next full moon is in Capricorn. And then we're going to have another full moon in Capricorn. And this to me is very much going to illuminate for the Capricorn energy any old structures that no longer serve. I also think that this moon energy right now is somehow deciphering between how you go into the pack or how you lead within a pack, meaning the pack like a pack of people, or because here I feel there's the potential that there's a revisiting of your emotional body. And while there are layers of connection or awareness, there's always deeper and deeper motivations that lie underneath. And if anything has to do with some unconscious need for security, material security, I think it's going to reveal itself. Your moon is in Capricorn, Stephen? Are you kidding? I didn't know that. I thought it was somewhere else. Oh, okay. I didn't think it was in Capricorn. I got confused. All right. Here we go. Capricorn. Our first angel is Caressa, the end of a life cycle. New happiness awaits. Archangel Raphael is offering a healing. Grace and Antoinette is about compassion. And then Indriel is the light worker. Okay. Caressa is being joined by the movement card. Archangel Raphael is being joined by the truth card. Grace and Antoinette is offering a rebirth. And Indriel is being joined by the love card. I have to say, Capricorn, I really, your ruling planet's going through Pisces right now. So here we see this really, I've been feeling spirit saying that they want a strong foundation and connection with your inner self, your inner knowing. As an intuitive, I believe there is just a fraction of who I am encased in this physical apparatus, and the most of me sits outside somewhere else, potentially experiencing other things as well. This moon card is really referring to the Piscean energy, rooting in your spiritual practices, your awarenesses in your everyday life. The end of the chapter is that dryness, that restriction that can feel so Capricornian, the duty, the obligation. Now we're moving past that as you step into a deeper level of your own truth. The epiphanies that come to you bring a sense of wisdom, a sense of healing and balance. And you've been going through a rebirth. Pluto's been transiting your first house for forever. And the compassion that you start to show for yourself then goes out into the compassion that inadvertently is there for others, because Indriel is offering more love. And the challenge with these earth signs is that they are dutiful in some ways. They build in the material for other people's comfort as well as their own. And here, feels like a receptive energy where the two sides of myself somehow start to work together. So when I'm feeling maybe a more feral energy, I know that somehow my fears are being alerted, my instincts are being alerted, and I start to work with the different energies. I still have a little bit of issue with this crab, but sometimes I think it's things that come out of the water that I can't see, emotional things that have an ability to come up and bite me, but I don't really know they're there because I'm too busy howling at the moon. So overall, for my Capricorns, because this energy going back into your first house, especially the late degree Capricorns, and frankly, any planets that you have in Capricorn at those late degrees will be triggered. So you don't even have to be a Capricorn rising to have an experience of Pluto digging deeper into where your fears are holding you back, and then allowing you the privilege of connecting with your team of heavenly hosts in order to help support you and to feel safe as you move forward with your heart versus your head. All right. Onward and upward. All right. Now, I think if I remember correctly, Aquarius comes after Capricorn. I'm so much better at forgiving myself for my mistakes and still feeling smart. Here we go. Ooh, Aquarius, the cup of love, of bounty. You know, when I think of this, there's oftentimes I think I see that sort of energy of you teach a man to fish and he eats forever, you know? So there's something here about offering somebody something that will be sustainable, long lasting. Now let's look and see where we're going. It's also very emotional. We'd like to think that it's warm and loving, but we see the seas have a little bit of movement in them. So this could be very much about self-love. Let's look and see where we're going. Our first angel for our Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums is Mystique. Keep charging ahead. Archangel Michael is about courage and protection. Sonia is connecting with your deceased loved ones. This is also could be your team encouraging you. And then we have Fiona saying, now that you ask God and the angels for help, be open to receiving. Pardon me. Mystique is being joined by the birth and the rebirth card. Archangel Michael is being joined by the king. Sonia is being joined by the hawk. And Fiona is being joined by the love card. Okay, this is very interesting to me because Aquarius is going to experience the Pluto transit in your first house for quite some time. And those early born are already feeling it. But here, I really am resonating with the idea that something is about sustainability, about when I look at the arms with the red and the tights are red, the shoes are yellow, the cup is yellow, the fish is actually blue. And so here there's something about, when I look at this, that for my Aquarius, this is about connecting to what makes me feel. That red is the base chakra, that fight or flight, what makes me feel secure and safe. And am I willing to do what it takes in order to build something that will sustain me, where I use my own resources, my arms and my legs? Because Mystique is saying to keep charging ahead. There's a rebirth ahead of you. And yes, indeed, there is. And if we look at the idea that Pisces is your second house of money and skills, and Aquarius rules the idea of genius, there could be that this week, part of it is about starting to strategize as you're experiencing that retrograde and then the square to Mars about how am I taking action? Am I taking action, with connecting to a bigger truth first? Because Archangel Michael and the King make me feel as if I'm being protected as I take dominion over my own life, and I have the courage to do that. And then I feel like you will indeed get signs and omens from the universe, from spirit, from those that watch over you, that you're moving in the right direction, or you are aligned to creating something that will be sustainable. And I mean that in the way that using your own skills, your own talents, your own genius gives you a sense of independence. So, but part of that is continuing to move ahead emotionally, as well as not just taking physical action. Again, because Fiona is about love. Fiona is about God and the angels bringing you something that you want to receive, and there is the love. And I don't think that everything that we love has to do with just another human being and being in a relationship. And maybe that is true. But for my Aquariuses, you're scientists, you're space travelers, you invent things so that the rest of us will have more ease and more comfort in our everyday lives. So this to me feels that page has a Piscean feel of your own skills, and to keep charging ahead, and to know that part of potentially your future could have something to do with some of the the new technology that will be birthed in this next year or two. There's going to be big changes over the decades, but there's going to be small platforms that offer, us more bounty or more resources. So there's that as well. But overall, I would say that this is a week that's going to focus in on your willingness to see the future, to move ahead, to be courageous in taking those steps, almost like baby steps versus big steps. And I think you're going to start to feel Spirit's hand on your back supporting you. That's the way I want to put it. Okay, let's go on to our Pisces, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. I have some challenging, dynamics with Pluto squaring some of my stuff, but I also have Pluto sextiling my South Node and my natal Jupiter. And I bring this up to y'all because there are things that will support. Pluto sextiling my South Node makes me feel as if there's a deep psychological inner me that is being triggered by that transit, because the South Node rules my habits. So when I stand in an awareness of my habits that I trust, my intuitiveness, my skills at what I do, even if I do screw up, Pluto's going to support that in a bigger way, while it squares me in other areas, because I feel like looking at things a little bit broader. Is anything hitting, seeing Lucy's comment about the midheaven, etc. We don't necessarily see those highlighted when we look at our charts. But, when you have, 15-degree midheaven, Saturn could be making an aspect to that when it's at 18 degrees. So look at those kind of things. These are the little details that come through. All right, Pisces. Victory. I love this card. This is fixed fire, which is our Leos. This guy has been to the battles and now he's coming back victorious and he's being celebrated. So let's see where we're going. Because that Saturn transit in your first house is no joke. And what we get to see, Saturn started off, went 0 to 7 degrees and retrograded back to revisit some things and moseyed back on. And now here it is at 19. It's going to move to 19 degrees and then retrograde back to 12 degrees. So here there's a revisit of something and the potential of extracting a victory from Saturn's influence, which can feel dampening. I'm not saying it can't, but at the same time, as you implement that tenacity that Saturn requires, a lot of good things can happen in your professional life, because we see, Pisces first house, Virgo 7th house. This is the house of work. This is the house of collaborations as well. So as you individualize you and put that structure in, you could bring in people that actually complement where you versus oppose you. So they have complementary skills that you don't have. Because we think about Pisces is so creative and dreamy that the idea of Virgo's analytical process helps get the job done. All right, so where's this victory coming from? Mystique, keep charging ahead. Don't take no for an answer. Aurora, you're flying high right now. Don't descend. You're protected through Xana's energy. And then we have Bridget looking deeper into a situation. All right. Mystique is being joined by the love card. Aurora is being joined by the wealth card. Xana is being joined by the queen. And Bridget's being joined by the focus card. Okay, so basically this is what I want to say for my Pisces, because you will this standing still in the sky of Saturn, and if you have your rising sign or any significant planets in your first house that are within Saturn's orb, I would give it a 2 or 3 degree orb to be really tight and intense. The potential victory comes from your awareness of pacing yourself, of being diligent, of not squirreling off too much in a tangent, I guess I want to say, because Mystique is saying to keep charging ahead towards what you love. Saturn is saying, do it diligently. Don't forget, stay in tight orb of your dreams, because here's the potential for wealth. And here's Aurora. You're still in a process, because other people can potentially not see what it is that you plan on being victorious about. But this is coming into fruition. And your opportunity here is to literally assume the position of the queen in your life. And know that you're protected as you say to Spirit, thank you for bringing me all the resources that I need in order to move this story forward, in order to redefine myself and to see myself and to truly birth the things of my heart, the dreamy part of me. Because the little challenge here for my little Pisces is focus. You're not focusing enough. And if your dreams have felt stalled, is it Saturn's fault in your first house? Or is it just that you're just, maybe there's a part of you that has lacked motivation up until now. Maybe there's a part of you that has felt like I'm just too tired. And that's okay to honor that. But at the same time, the victory doesn't come from succumbing to that, but then pushing kind of through that in an ebb and flow way. And I think the best way to do that is to go back to what you love. So let's just say that you are an artist. Pisces is artistic. Let's say that you like to create art in some way. Well, rather than actually trying to create art to sell, do art for fun or for meditation or for a way of connecting in some way to a deeper part of yourself, and allow that exercise to then get you realigned, because you do have a victory ahead of you, and Spirit just wants to keep you on track and focusing. Okay. Sometimes I get to remember that, Spirit didn't give me the dream. I asked for the dream. And when I ask for it a lot, sometimes they hold my feet to the fire to get it done. Last month, I didn't even get my Gemini new moon video done. That was this kind of week. I was really mad because I was so far so good. But sometimes I'm a one-man band, and every once in a while I just have to give myself a get-out-of-jail-free card. All right, on to our Aries, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Ooh, money, money, money. This is literally, this guy's making money. Now, there's also a little bit of detail involved here, looking at the detail. And for some reason, as I look at him today, I notice that one foot is sort of relaxed, right? He's got his leg out with that red tight on, red legging, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like that there's the potential that Aries could feel. Now, this is the thing. Aries, Mars has moved into Taurus. It slows the roll down a bit. It's almost like the bonfire, okay, is going on when Mars is in Aries. It's huge and everybody's dancing around, singing. And then when you get into Taurus, the bonfire is sort of slowed down, and we've got to be careful not to step on any hot spots. But the reason I say this is because I think this is about looking at the detail of something. And when I look at that leg, it makes me feel as if there's the potential that, you can relax a little bit. You have a certain momentum, and now it's just about fine tuning. And I want to offer this too, because your ruling planet, Mars, wants to move fast. In Taurus, it doesn't get to move fast. Now it's squaring Pluto, and Pluto's saying, but Mars, where's all that sit? Are you pissed off? Are you trying to prove something to somebody? Or are you really standing in your own vision of yourself and your own individuality? We still have the North Node going through Aries' first house. We have the Chiron. And Mars just had a big ass conversation with those 2 points. So here now, this could be about implementing the details in order to create more abundance. Personally, I always like when money's involved. All right, we have Daniel, the angel of history and marriage and partnership. Vanessa is about faith over fear. Teresa is about worry. And Archangel Michael is about courage and protection. Daniel is being joined by the Justice card in the form of Merlin, Justice, Alchemy, and Balance. Ooh, I like that. Vanessa's being joined by the Love card. Teresa's being joined by the Movement card. And Archangel Michael is being joined by the Restriction card. All right, for my Aries, I want to offer this. Daniel is the angel of history, and Taurus rules personal history. And I think that, the brave energy of Aries is starting to see how the disruptive history that they've experienced could potentially be the very platform that leads them into their brilliance. Because while I could focus on marriage, I'm focusing on the history aspect of it, and Merlin giving me some kind of balance with it, some sort of justice as I look at the details. When I think about how I intuit is mostly through the file cabinet of my own experiences. I don't always see the client's, person. I see a relative, something similar in my own mind that relates to it, because here, this is Aries. This is about feeling some sort of reconciliation in love. And your ruling planet is going to square Pluto this week. And this is going to ask you, are you based in love, or are you based in fear? Where is your real faith? Because, when some of the more challenging signs like Aries or Scorpio, the first thing people say is, oh, and Leo gets it too. Oh, you're one of those. And, it kind of bugs me, because it's like, people criticize you if you're sheepish. People criticize you if you stand out too much. People always have an opinion somewhere. So maybe this is giving Aries an opportunity to really look at, who do you have faith in and what do you love? Because this is telling me that you're going to stop worrying about other people's opinions, or worrying about anything, frankly. You're moving away from that kind of idea. And I want to offer it this way, because this is not like, oh, I get to just be angry and blurt my stuff out. I believe that those that watch this kind of material are stepping into the brave, pioneering energies that is Mars, the willingness to be, more accountable for what I am creating, and not dimming my fire, but knowing how to use it to create life and to cook food. Because here, this is about, this courage of Archangel Michael and protection. And then there's the restriction card. I almost feel like there's a part of this is not bad. You have had the courage to know how to restrict yourself, to look at the deeper details of things, to see a bigger picture of things, and learning how to be a brave and peaceful warrior and never putting your sword down. That is so powerful. So I think that this is an affirmation from the universe that you are on track, and this week could potentially test you. I don't mean it like the universe wants to test you, but at the same time, when we walk through a disruption and we're exercising a new truth that is untried or untested or not rooted, and then those are the opportunities to root them in. So sometimes those disruptions are actually serving a bigger picture of our victory. All right, let's go on to our Tauruses, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums, our last sign of the day. What I've come to peace with is that I understand that some people, my stepmother, my family in general, my sister and her family, would I love to be close to them? Yes. But will they ever let me be me? No. Will they ever actually, meet me halfway? No. So the postures and the position that I take are not because I'm trying to be difficult for anyone. I just understand that if I'm not happy inside of myself, how can I be happy at all? And those people don't honor my happiness, so I have to step away. So these are sometimes these are hard decisions that we make, and people don't understand them, and they frame us in a certain way that doesn't sound pretty. But when we know that deeper truth, it helps us shine our light brighter, honestly. All right, Taurus. Ooh, you're going to love this card. This is a card of money. It's a card of tradition. It's a card of solid, like, inheritances and old school money. And look at, we have the two dogs, we got the parents, we got the grandparents, we've got the children, we've got the property, we've got the abundance. Everything is warm and fuzzy here. Yay. Let's look. Well, Jules, when I think about it, if I take the idea that I chose these people, which still makes me gag a bit, they're where I sit today and this room and what we chat about, I think they're the perfect facilitators for that experience, because we have an idea of what family is, but very few families actually, not everybody gets a good family. And I don't think that just because there's blood that you have to suffer for 80 to 90 years with it. It just feels too harsh of a sentence. All right, here we go for our Tauruses, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Isabella, yes, the timing is right for a new adventure. Here's Serena, the angel of abundance. Money, money, money. Yay. There's self-care in the form of Bethany. And then there's Rosetta, which is about, again, the inner child for me. Since I never had kids, every one of the readings is focused on you as much as an individual as possible for me. So I don't know if this will have anything to do with children. It could have something to do with your history. Let's see. Isabella is being joined by the Fear card. Serena's being joined by the Queen. Bethany's being joined by the Novice. And Rosetta's being joined by the Birth and the Rebirth card. Okay, I want to offer it this way. For my Tauruses, you still have Uranus going through your first house, in many ways offering liberation in unexpected ways from whatever stories you tell yourself about your value, your skills, your beauty, what you have to offer. And I think that what this Ten of Pentacles is offering you is an abundance of resources that don't come just physically, but also emotionally. Because Isabella is saying, yes, the timing is right to start to look at how fear actually spawns us in some ways. How fear is a necessary evil to achievement and to exhilaration and to feeling powerful. Serena is here offering money will come to you. And I really think that this is also about exercising your skills, trusting your skills, nurturing your skills, and having a sense of calm and peace about it. Because here, the Novice and this self-care card feel like this is you and your skills and starting to practice them. Being a Taurus moon, one of the challenges for me, and early Tauruses are feeling a square, so, to Pluto. And then Mars just entered your first house. So my point is this, because the self-care, I don't think, is about taking care of your physical body. The self-care is about trusting that the resources will come as needed and they'll show up. Because here, what I'm seeing is the rebirth of a childlike innocence, where everything is, when people say I'm tired of adulting, it's because they're tired of worrying about taking care of themselves. When they were kids, theoretically, mom and dad fed you, they clothed you, they made sure you got well when you were sick, and they nurtured you. But as we become adults and in a society where we're more individualized, it falls upon us. So here, I think this is more about allowing the things that you love, and the things that you want to build money from and security to create that Ten of Pentacles energy in your life is about pacing yourself and knowing that part of that is your willingness not just to plow the fields of making it happen, but being able to sit and nurture the seeds as they take time to sprout and then come up through the earth, erupt the earth, literally disrupt the earth before they can become plants that bear fruit. Yes, the family is a very, very interesting thing, I must say. I don't know. I worry myself sometimes because I think, I want to pick a more benign family next time. And then I think, oh God, if I get out of body again, I'll say, I can do it. And I'll pick another one just like the other one. I don't want to do that anymore. All right, everybody. So just as a reminder, I'm going to take next Sunday off to honor all the dads out there, the dads to, you know, whether you're an actual biological dad to a human, or you're a dad to somebody who has come into your life, or you are a fur daddy, whatever the case may be, we're going to honor you next week the way we did last month with the moms. We're going to take next Sunday off. I hope you enjoy your day. Go golf, go have brunch, go hang out. You know, a little self-care right now and a little pampering, you know, I think is really on the books. And it may seem sometimes frivolous, but those acts, when they're done with true allowing yourself to absorb them, they are worth their weight in gold. All right, everybody, I love you. I'll be back. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and have a great Father's Day. I'm going to post a video. I am. I'm really mad at myself I didn't get that Gemini new moon one. Okay, everybody. Peace out. I'll see you later.